Welcome all y'all out there in Radio Land to the classroom of Professor Percy Pickem's Peerless Pigskin Predictions and Prognostications 101. Professor Percy Pickem, the freight train of pigskin pain and the master of point spread disaster. After much cogitation and coin flipping, the old professor has carefully prepared his lesson plan, and he's here with his weekly lecture on gridiron glory and his prodigious Pickem Pigskin Report. This week, there's a lot of gridiron grit on the schedule, so sharpen your number 2 pencils, get in your seats, open your books, and get ready to take some notes. The old professor's class is now in session.
This is Professor Percy Pickem, and welcome back to my Peerless Pigskin Predictions and Prognostications 101. We're about halfway through this sensationally stunning season on the fickle fortunes of fantastic forthright football forecasting, and the cream is slowly beginning to rise to the top. And the cream of the week seems to be a magnificently magnolia-flavored concoction with a tangy touch of Tallahassee Tabasco. So let's step into our cozy kickoff kitchen to see who gets the souffle and who gets sauteed. Texas A&M versus Alabama. An addled aggregation of absolutely aggravated Aggies awkwardly amble into a treacherous Tuscaloosa that's terrifically teeming with a ton of testy roll tiders, both seriously searching for a cure for a confounding SEC case of delirious defeat fever. But the jumbo gaggle of gang-busting giggums won't find any miracle cure in the doc-in-the-box Crimson Tide Clinic, and will find Dr. Saban's Rama-Jamma stethoscope to be mighty ice-cold. Percy's pick, Alabama. Kansas State versus Oklahoma. A sturdy squad of Sunflower State sportsmen stealthily stroll out of their marvelous Manhattan cat house, looking to bust up a bodacious bunch of battling Boomer Sooners in a ball-playing brawl for Big 12 bragging rights. The 14th-ranked ferocious felines will be looking to whip up a whomping case of the Wildcat Willies on the natty nabobs of Norman, but the 11th-ranked dynamic Dust Bowl dwellers will ultimately terminate the tabbies. Percy's pick, Oklahoma. Baylor versus West Virginia. Coach Art Browse boldly blasts his big old burly bunch of bruising, brutish Baptist bears into the rowdy wooded wilderness of West Virginia to take on the mammoth mob of macho, manly men mountaineers of magnificent Morgantown. The cagey backcountry coonskinners will be craving to carve a cavernous crater in the carcass of the carnivorous critters, but the 4th-ranked Waco Fuzzy Wuzzes will prove to be smarter than your average bear. Percy's pick in a Big 12 tussle, Baylor. Georgia versus Arkansas. The abundantly agile athletes of alluring Athens precariously plunder out of the picturesque Peach State into a hair-raising hog trough surrounded by a perilous pack of rowdy, rough-running Razorbacks in the muddy muck of a capital city pigsty in Little Rock. The Western Division wind-deficient Woo Piggies have the size to win the prize, as the pig-skinned bull puppies will learn not to mud-wrestle with a pig, 'cause you only get dirty, and the pig likes it. Percy's pick is bound to come sooner or later in a Little Rock upset, Arkansas. Virginia versus Duke. The chivalrous Cavaliers of charming Charlottesville courageously charge into a foreboding battlefield, stubbornly defended by a burning bunch of blistering Blue Devils in this colossal ACC conflict in delightful Durham. This could wind up as a Wallace Wade Stadium heart-pounding, exhilarating exhibit of gridiron gumption between the whopping Wahoo Warriors and the little impertinent imps, boiling down to the blessed benefit of home field advantage. Percy's pick in a close ACC nail-biter, Duke. Well, there's been a lot of talk this week about 2 high-achieving teams from the Magnolia State. I asked a student one time to spell Mississippi for me, and stalling for time, he asked me, "Do you want me to spell the one for the state or the one for the river?" On that note, let's take a short break, but we'll be back before you can spell M-I, crooked letter I, crooked letter I, humpback I, Mississippi. Whether you are tuned in on Professor Percy Pickem's radio network, our fancy Facebook page, or listening on our weekly YouTube TV broadcast, we hope you enjoy the old professor's peerless program and want you to know how much we appreciate your kind support. And we'd be grateful, mighty grateful indeed, if you would share our show with all of your friends and associates. It sure would mean a lot to us and help keep us on the air. Now back to the show. This is Professor Percy Pickem. Each week, my peerless pigskin predictions and prognostications are broadcast by the best dang radio stations in the land, like our good friends at WMAF AM 1230 in Madison, Florida, home of the Madison County Cowboys, and WBIP AM 1400 in Booneville, Mississippi, hometown radio since 1950. Now back to my peerless prognostications. Oklahoma State versus TCU. There's going to be a rambunctious, rip-snorting, raging range war in bountiful Big 12 country this Saturday, as a bawdy band of battling Bronco busters boisterously buck into a Christian cowtown corral stocked with a hang-tough herd of humongous 12th-ranked horned frog whippersnappers. The 15th-ranked crusty cowpokes of pistol-packing Stillwater will be aiming to place an accurate pattern of pot shots on the Fort Worth farm, but won't be able to hit the side of a barn. Percy's pick, TCU. Tennessee versus Ole Miss. An anemic knot of Knox Vegas knee knockers cautiously clamber out of a rickety rocky top roost into a spooky kudzu-covered white knuckle corner of a Vault Hemingway aquarium, swimming with a sharp-toothed school of tenaciously relentless third-ranked land sharks. A reverse version of this game happened back in 1969, as the then undefeated and third-ranked Volunteers got hammered 38-0 in the famous Archie Who game. Could this be payback time for the Rocky Toppers? Nah, it's going to be mimosas all around in the Grove, with the Rebs bringing the champagne and a pulped-out Big Orange supplying the juice. Percy's pick, hotty toddy. Washington versus Oregon. The plucky Pike Place Market pigskinners open up their purple and gold umbrellas and skedaddle out of Seattle into an ominous Oregon outbreak of an outrageously overwhelming onslaught of fast-flying waterfowl. The housebroke Huskies of Dandy UW will do their dangdest to dominate on the dangerous Pac-12 track, but the 9th-ranked Ducks will get the last quack. Percy's pick, Oregon. Kentucky versus LSU. Coach Mark Stoops carefully collects his courageous cluster of caterwauling kitty cats for an extended excursion into a strange domain filled with a rash of rowdy red stick revelers and a ginormous gang of gumbo-loving gridiron gladiators. It's going to be a dynamic duel in deafening Death Valley, as the wily Wildcats audaciously attempt to tree a bad-tempered bio-Bengal beast. But the kids from Old Kentucky will wind up down on their luck. Percy's pick, purple shirts and yellow breeches, LSU. Notre Dame versus Florida State. In this week's reality show episode of How the World Turns in Tallahassee, we find the star of the show confronted by a squad of South Bend scholarship signees, at which point the star shouts out, "Signees, I ain't signed nothing." The subplot of the show will actually revolve around a realistic football game, as a 5th-ranked gang of shillelagh-slinging, leprechaun-leaping, fighting Irish attempt to knock the Tomahawk Nation TV station down another notch in the ratings. But if they stick to the script, the star won't slip and the Irish will trip. Percy's pick, Florida State. Well, let's take a very short break, but not before we send a sincere thank you to those of you who have shared our show with those in your circle of social media friends. And we kindly ask all of our listeners to please do the same. It may seem like a very little thing to do, but it's a mighty big help for the show. Now don't y'all go away now. You know we're going to be right back.
Southern artist Larry Womble has a collection of art prints from your favorite college towns. Visit LarryWomble.com to view the array of prints and place an order for yourself or as a special gift. LarryWomble.com.
Well, while we're still here in the cozy kickoff kitchen, let's quickly check out this week's rah-rah recipes for the old professor's zippy picks and pronto prognostications. The Maryland Terps slowly outrun Iowa. UCF swamps Tulane. Syracuse squeezes by Wake Forest. Nebraska redirects Northwestern. South Carolina trims Furman. Clemson beans Boston College. Florida home fields Missouri. Marshall outmans FIU. Stanford surprises Arizona State. Georgia Tech in a squeaker over North Carolina. Texas irritates Iowa State. And Chattanooga badly bends the barrel on the Citadel's cannon. Well, that's about all we got for you today, but we'll be back again next week on the radio, on Facebook, and YouTube TV. Just search for Professor Percy Pickem. That's P-I-C-K-E-M, Professor Percy Pickem. And please help spread the word by sharing the show with your friends and associates. It'd be a big help. So long for now, and thanks so much for listening. And to quote the immortal words written by the old professor's dear friend Larry Womble, we may not win every game, but we ain't never lost a party.
Professor Percy Pickem is a production of CRM Sports. For more, log on to y'all.com or share the podcast in the iTunes Store.